Welcome to the Life You Love podcast.
We're your hosts, Grace Lemire
and Erin Convertini.
This podcast is for the dreamers and the doers.
For the women who want to create a life they genuinely love waking up to.
We believe that life's short, so let's build one we love. Welcome back to another episode of the Life You Love podcast. We've had a lot of conversations around social media and how we leverage it as influencers and online entrepreneurs. And in today's episode, we wanted to dive deeper into that second portion, how you can use social media as the marketing arm for really any online business or side hustle you're looking to build. Even if you don't have a specific business idea in mind, or if having an online business isn't necessarily the end goal for you, we hope you walk away from today's episode feeling inspired by all the possibilities when it comes to making money online.
I love this topic so much. And I think people overcomplicate this, or when you talk about making money through social media, the conversation always kind of starts with making money on social media as an influencer. And that's what people associate it as. And then you hear so many people say, well, I don't want to be an influencer. And that's okay. You don't have to want to be an influencer to take advantage of social media to market whatever online business you're trying to start. And like you said, even if you're not at a point yet where you're like, okay, I have this online business that I want to start, let's get on social media to market it. There's so many people that are starting to post on social media today with I don't even want to say end goal, but with the purpose of developing a community about what they're passionate about, and then developing some type of product, service, coaching, whatever it may be around what they are passionate about. And I feel like that's the true kind of definition of monetizing your passions.
I feel like too, just simply put, a lot of people are really wanting to make more money. They want to make money and they see social media as a way to do that. Even if it's just posting and they're like, I want to be interested, or I'm interested in TikTok shop and how I can make money doing that. Or I know that I want to just pursue it as a way to make some extra side cash. Or if it is a real, I guess social media is a real business, but having some sort of other business that they're marketing on social media, I think people are just fascinated by the idea of making money online. And I feel like we both have tried to pull back the curtain in a lot of ways with that and be like, okay, yeah, you don't have to be an influencer if you don't want to. We've had lots of conversations in private about how we don't want to be celebrities. I don't want my pages to grow to such a point where I'm a celebrity. I don't want that. I want to make money online, right? And I think a lot of people want to do that too. But yeah, being an influencer isn't necessarily everybody's shtick, but there's so many ways to use social media to make money that do not require you to be an influencer at all, if that's really not what you want to do.
Yeah. And what we mean by you don't want to be an influencer, I think there's two kind of archetypes of people who post on social media. There's the Alex Earl archetype, which is 100% an influencer. She posts about her life, you know, her relationship, you know, everything about her, but she's not necessarily marketing she's not marketing services that she's selling, or maybe now she's marketing products or something because she's that big, but she's the influencer archetype. But then there's that second archetype that's okay, maybe this person has 7,000 TikTok followers and all 7,000 of those people are all around the same kind of micro niche. Maybe it is, I'm trying to give an example here, a teacher account, and this teacher is posting educational content on how to optimize your classroom for whatever. I'm not a teacher, but you know what I mean? So that those 7,000 people are all so in one specific micro niche that person can end up having a business around their little kind of micro niche. So even though you are still putting your face online and posting social media content and gaining a following, you're not really doing it with the purpose of those people knowing about you, knowing about your life, your relationships, what you do in a day, what you eat in a day. It's not about you, it's about the education that you're providing. And that's kind of the way to use social media to build a business.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, with the different archetypes, the influencer, and this isn't obviously, this is a, blanket statement, I guess, but I think with a lot of the more influencery type, it's brand deals and affiliates is a big, usually affiliates on things like Amazon and clothes and things like that. That can be how a lot of those people make money. But then people who are more selling services or digital products, or it's more a little bit more of a, I am a content creator in a business, that type of thing, there tends to be more of the income streams, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We're not really talking about brand deals and how to make money with brand deals. We're talking about other things that people can do if you are marketing some sort of other business, or if you want to market some sort of other business or make money in some other way without necessarily dipping into the whole influencer brand deal situation.
100%. And I know we talked about this on the podcast before, but the idea of like followers doesn't equal money. And it's obviously true that a lot of big influencers make a lot of money on things like brand deals and affiliates and everything like that. Once you get to the point where you have like hundreds of thousands of followers and like the money does come in from those places. But those accounts that have like 7,000 followers on TikTok, 30,000 followers on TikTok in a very specific niche where they're providing products and services, those people can make a killing too. Like, for example, my content coach, like I hire someone that I meet with regularly to help me with my content for my lifestyle pages. And I pay her a couple $100 every call. I think she has like 7,000 Instagram followers. I know for a fact she makes a killing. Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
she makes probably over 6 figures just in her business, just in her coaching business. I think she offers like video editing services or something like that. So, like, she only has 7,000 Instagram followers, but they're all people who could be potential clients and customers because they're the only type of people that would actually follow an account like that.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I think a lot of people think the more follow in some ways, the more followers you have, the more you could possibly make. But there are also, I've seen so many situations of people who have millions of followers and they're saying like, I struggle to monetize. I don't make enough. I'm barely getting by. And there are people who have, yeah, a few thousand followers, which obviously a few thousand people is still, that's still a lot of people. But in the world of social media, that is considered a smaller account or a smaller following. But sometimes like those are the people that are, like you said, making so much money. And it's honestly kind of crazy just because of the product or service they have is so aligned to whatever target, like they've created a product that aligns so well with their target audience and their target customer that it sells like crazy.
Definitely. And I think the other portion of that too is a lot of people that are listening to this are probably in the boat where they're like, okay, I would love to start posting on social media to inevitably like sell my services or sell my products, but I don't really know exactly what I want to sell. And I think that's the biggest hurdle and it stops people from getting started. But that's also a big myth that you like have to have your product or service squared away right away before you post your first video. That's definitely not it either. Like, start your account, start posting consistently about the topic that you're knowledgeable about and passionate about. And naturally, the people that follow you are going to tell you what they need and are going, and then you can build from there. That's how you and I started selling a budget template. Like, I never set out to sell a budget template, but after 6 months of me posting about budgeting and investing and personal finance, people told me that they wanted to see a budget template. So I
Mm-hmm.
created it. If they would have
Yeah.
told me that they wanted to see some other type of product, then I probably would have like went a different route. But you can kind of just let your audience tell you what they need based on the content that you're already posting.
I think a lot of people, like you said, think that they need to know what they need to sell before they go on. But I actually think that unless you have proof somewhere offline that, like, if you have a product or service that's selling offline, like freaking hotcakes and everybody wants it or whatever, okay, it's probably going to do well when you start to talk about it on social media. But otherwise, if you're spending all the time creating a product and then you're trying to go online and market it and you haven't even asked anyone if that's what they want, the chances are it's probably not going to be something that anyone wants because you don't know. And I think a lot of people run into that where they say, okay, well, I want to create this product that teaches people like how to get from A to B, but they haven't, then they get on social media, they start promoting it and they find that people actually need help getting from A to A.1. They're like, I can't even fathom going from A to B. I just want to actually go one step. Or they're like, actually, I need help getting from B to C, not A to B. And now you've created a whole product around A to B. So I actually think it's better to, like you said, get online first and kind of just start talking about stuff that you enjoy or stuff that you're passionate about and see what people respond and then create products. And it gets so interesting. And I'm excited about some of the stuff that we have on the list that we want to talk about because there's like one in particular. I was saying to Erin earlier today when we were talking, we were sending voice notes as we were preparing for the podcast. And I was like, there is a podcast episode I listened to. I think it was 2022 is when the episode is from. And I have not been able to get it out of my head that this woman was so successful with such a niche thing. And I'm super excited to talk about it because I think people also think that it has to be that what they know is not going to be as useful or valuable or as revenue generating as they might think. But truly, people buy everything. There are people out there that are just like you that have the same interests as you or the same desire and they want to learn things that you know and you have something to give. If you are knowledgeable on some sort of topic, you have something to give. And I think the examples that we have are going to be proof of that in today's episode.
Yeah, we have some really good examples here. We broke this out into 4 categories. We said digital products, online services, online courses and coaching, and then communities is the fourth one. And then we just kind of listed examples of things that we've seen people sell online that we thought were really unique and interesting. And I think that we have some pretty cool examples here, just again to like inspire you guys. If you're in a situation where you're like, no, I want to post on social media, I know the topic that I'm passionate about, I want to start posting, but I don't really have my like quote unquote idea for my product yet. It doesn't matter. Just get started. And there's kind of like space for everyone on social media because, like you said, there's so many people out there that are interested in what you're interested in. And it's all about finding your people and like developing that community. So we can start with digital products. And obviously, like when it comes to digital products, Grace and I both sell a digital product. We both sell a budget template, but we wanted to expand from that because giving one example in one niche isn't super valuable. So we have a couple other examples here. The one that I want to talk about is one that I've actually purchased before. And this is a monthly subscription. So it is a digital product, but I was actually paying for it monthly. And it's essentially a Google Drive folder of 200 per month little 5-second clips of like faceless B-roll. And if you are a video editor, if you are a content creator, if you are a social media manager for a brand, you know how valuable it is to just have little like miscellaneous random clips that like don't even need to have your face in it. And that's what this girl did. She would take 200 little random clips throughout the month, upload it into a Google Drive folder, and I think I paid $42 a month for it for a while. And it was like the best $42 ever spent. So that girl was making a lot of money off of me. Yeah, just like something super random.
The good thing about that too, and with all digital products, is you don't have to usually put more work in to sell more of them. Like for example, that girl, you pay 42 bucks a month. If I paid 42 bucks a month, if 10 other people paid 42 bucks a month, whatever, she doesn't have to put any more effort in. You all are getting access to the same product. Or with other digital products, like it's the same item that then you can sell over and over and over again. So it's very, very scalable, which I think is a really powerful thing. One digital product that I always think is really smart is people who love to cook, even if it's just a hobby. You don't have to be a chef. People who just enjoy cooking or baking or cake decorating or anything like that, selling cookbooks and recipe guides. I've seen a lot of niche specific ones too, like vegan, gluten-free, grain-free. I've seen a lot of people who do like if you have like a child who's a picky eater, it's like a picky eater recipe guide type of thing. Or like for it basically will kind of be like how to make sure that your kids get the nutrients that they need. Or like it can get super niche. And I think that I keep seeing content about like a cycle, like eating what is it, like not
Cycle syncing.
cycle syncing, but also seed cycling, which is different seeds for different parts of your cycle, and just like how to nourish your body in different parts of your cycle. Those things are amazing too. I think that if you enjoy cooking, baking, anything like that, that's such a good one.
I follow this one girl who she's a mom and she posts a lot of content around like her grocery budget and how she stays under a $50 grocery budget every week shopping at
Oh my
Aldi or
gosh.
whatever. So she sells a $9.99 recipe book and it's like
Mm-hmm.
50 plus recipes of like things that you can make for under a $50 weekly budget. And like she is not a chef, but she is a busy mom. She has a lot
Mm-hmm.
of crock pot recipes. She's like appealing to the audience of people who want like affordable, quick, easy recipes that feed a family of like whatever, 4 or 5. So yeah, the more specific that you can get, honestly, the better. Because if that same girl were to just release a cookbook and call it cookbook, they're going to be like, okay, why should I buy your cookbook? As opposed to people who are like actual chefs.
Mm-hmm.
So just like making it super specific and telling people who it's for and who it's not for. And I feel like that's a good lesson just like in content creation in general is like you're not speaking to everyone, you are speaking to a very specific person. And if you do speak to a very specific person, that's how you like truly find your people. They say like when you talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one. So that's a good thing to keep in mind as well. A couple other ones we had on here like habit trackers, if you post a lot of like habits and routines content, like fitness content, anything like that. Startup pitch deck template, freelancer contract template. So if you're like, if you have a startup and you have a really good pitch deck and you post content about for other startup founders and things like that. And then YouTube thumbnail template packages were the other ones. So if you're really good at designing YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah. I just feel like with digital products, especially the kind of, I don't know, the opportunities are endless. Can we skip ahead on our list down to online courses because I feel like this is where my example is so relevant here. Okay, guys, we're going to skip to the online courses and coaching section. And I've been dying. What's that audio that's like, matter of fact, I've been dying to bring this one up. Like, I think that's what it says. 'Cause on TikTok, this is what's in my head right now because it was an episode from James Wedmore's podcast called the Mind Your Business podcast. It's episode 558 if you want to scroll all the way back because he has like 700 something episodes. I listened to this episode and I think I listened to it maybe in 2022 and it inspired me so much because basically he interviews students of his program that I think is called Business by Design, I believe. And I think it's on like selling an online course or online program. I'm not 100% sure all the information of the course, but he would interview these students and he interviewed this woman. And I remember it said something like the title was something along the lines of like how she went from like 0 or 10K to 100K in a year. And I was like, ooh, and I started listening. And I remember I was a few minutes in and she basically kind of started talking about what she does. And I was like, well, this doesn't really apply to me at all. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to listen to the rest of it. And I listened to the whole episode and it has inspired me since then for the last 3 years. This woman, I'm pretty sure it was a course that she sold on some sort of equestrian related topic. I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if it was like how to start your equestrian business. I don't know if it was like a hoof cleaning business. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was equestrian and it was so niche. Okay. She made 100K from selling this online program. And I don't think she had like, I don't know if she didn't use social media at all or if she just had a very small following. I wanted to go back and listen to this episode and I remembered right before, like a couple hours before we came on today. So I didn't have time to listen to it, but she now does entrepreneur consulting. And it was just so fascinating to me to hear such a niche topic, right? And she had a business that was, I believe, offline. She was making money from and wanted to increase her income. And if any of this is incorrect information, pardon me because I'm literally remembering this from 3 years ago, but I know she made 100K with an equestrian focused kind of company. And I just thought it was such a good example for people that no matter how niche your interest is, there are people who want to buy what you are selling, want to buy whatever you're doing, right? Like, if you have knowledge and you know how to do something, there are probably people who want to learn it. It's just about getting in front of the right people. And with something that niche, you can sell the course for a pretty decent price because where the heck else are you finding, you know what I mean, something that niche? So you don't have to get in front of a million people. You just have to get in front of like a small crowd of the right people who want to buy what you're selling.
I watched a YouTube video yesterday. I'm the same way where like I really enjoy hearing those types of stories, even though I don't personally want to sell a course about horses. It's still just so inspiring. And that's what we wanted to do with this episode topic today. But I was watching a YouTube video the other day and the girl was giving examples like this. And the one was something related to like learning how to talk to animals. Like what's the word? Like telepathic
Telepathy? Telepathy?
telepathy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
When you can
animal
like hear what.
telepathy. Yeah,
Wow.
and she was talking about her like email funnels on how she sold $103,000 worth of courses about like animal telepathy because she was like, I'm literally the only one on
Yeah,
YouTube talking about
right.
animal
Yeah.
telepathy. Like no one else is doing that. So it's just like, yeah, the more niche you can be, kind of the better because you're going to have no competition in the space and the select people who are super interested in that topic as well, like they're going to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some of the other ones we have on our list because I feel like we have some interesting ones on here. The one that I put was I know this guy who is a content creator that owns a bunch of rental properties. And his whole thing is he has learned how to hire VAs, and VAs stand for virtual assistants. So people who typically live out of the United States in a country like the Philippines or something like that. And they're your virtual assistant. So they do your assistant tasks, they're just not in person. He has learned how to hire VAs to run his rental portfolio. So he's basically trained them on how to do all of the like Airbnb rental tasks, property management, all of that. So now he has an online course to teach people how to hire VAs and delegate all of their rental property tasks because most people who have rental properties, they don't want to do all of the property management. And he's sitting here saying like, my course, yes, it's expensive, but it's going to end up saving you in the long run rather than hiring a property management company. So I thought that was like a cool niche one as well.
Also, hiring is like like one of the hardest parts. I feel like of having a business. Hiring and taxes, hiring stinks. So I feel like that's such a strong pain point. I had a couple here as well. One is like a freelancing course, which I sell. And I think it was one of those things where I didn't start my freelance marketing business thinking I would sell a course. I didn't come on social media thinking I would sell a course on it, but I kept getting DM after DM after DM asking me to like get on free calls and just like talk with people. And simply put, I don't have the capacity to like talk one on one with everyone for free. Like it doesn't make sense because I'd be literally losing money by giving up other opportunities to take free calls. And I was like, okay, let me put it in a course. And I did. And people have really liked it. Like the people who've actually put in the effort and the work to like go through the program and do what it says and like are committed to freelancing have gotten a lot out of it. And yeah, I think there's so many job related ones, like career related ones that you could do, like how you negotiated your salary, how you got a position that you wanted, how you broke into tech, how you went from nursing to I don't know, yeah, to project management, or you could just there's so much you could do. The other one that I always think is interesting, and I wanted to point this one out, is like so I guess it's kind of more I put sports coaching as the example, but I don't know how to explain this without this coming off weird. There's something to be said about marketing to parents. And I was talking to a friend because her boyfriend does a lot of like in-person sports coaching for track and he's really good at it. And we were talking about just like how he could do something like that online. And I was like, here's the thing, especially when it comes to athletics. Every parent believes that their child's going to be like the next Jason Tatum. It's just, I feel like if your kid's like good at sports, everyone likes to believe they're going to go D1 and like do the most, whatever. And parents spend, not all parents, obviously, but like parents love to spend a lot on like investing in the right training and things like that for their kids' sports, for their kids to be better at them. And it makes a lot of sense, right? If your kid gets a scholarship or something like that, your upfront investment could save you a ton of money in the long run, yada, yada, whatever. But people love to spend on things like that. People want to be the best of the best. So if you have skills like that, like if let's say you're really good at cheerleading or some sort of specific skill related to that, or dance or some other sport, you could package that right up into a course about how to master skills, how to increase your speed if you do track, or how to get a higher jump if you do, I don't know what it's called when you run with the pole and you fling yourself in the air. Like that's, you know what I mean? I don't know. There's just so much that you could do. And I think that would be really, especially like marketing to parents is a good
Yeah,
idea.
the marketing to parents thing is so interesting to me, and not even just in sports coaching, but I have a friend that's really big in the tech space and he markets to parents. And when we say marketing to parents, we mean creating content that is speaking directly to those parents, marketing to them for an education program that kids could do over the summer to like prep them going into college to be a CS major. Like, and that converts really well because parents are sitting there going, okay, $2,000 to help my kid be really prepared to get good internships which are then in turn going to get them a really good job when they graduate, like sold $2,000 well spent. And I also think like in the whole online course and coaching situation, what's really nice about like the online space and you developing a product from scratch is that you can decide, how do I want to say this? You can decide how big or small you want it to be. If you want it to be some comprehensive multi-thousand-dollar package where they're getting an 8-week training program with you and like all of these different video modules and all of that, you can make it like that. Or you can sell a $97 course that gets people from point A to point 8.5. And it's like super defined and they're going to get one defined outcome and that's kind of all it is. So you get to decide how much effort you want to put into it, both upfront and then also ongoing. Because when you have a course and when you have coaching, there is a lot of like ongoing support that you have to give to people as well. The other one in this group before we move on to the next one is I saw this on TikTok and I thought this was so interesting. But this one guy, he makes a lot of content about, he lives in like an urban like New York City apartment and he's really mastered how to have an at-home garden in his little like urban apartment and like building the gardens like up and like inside and the sunlight and all of that, and then like sells a course related to how to do it. So just like super random things you can do that can end up being monetized. But let's move on to the online services one next.
Yes, online services, it's so broad. It could be so much. There's honestly so many. I feel like you put a lot on the list if you want to start. I didn't add many or any.
Yeah. So a couple ideas that I have seen people do in the online services space. So obviously like or no, I guess that would be more in the coaching space. But when we're saying online services, some different examples here are like an interior designer who posts a lot of content about interior design. And then if you go to her profile, you can book a virtual interior design session with her. So you send her photos of your space, and then she does all of the mock ups and basically like designs it for you and then gives you the product recommendation so that you can go buy it and design your space like that. Virtual styling is another one. If you work with a stylist in person, you can also work with them virtually and meet with them via Zoom, and they can do all of the services virtually as well. And then the third one that I had on here is I saw this girl who's really big into like thrifting, and she offers this service where you can book a package with her and tell her your like style and your wardrobe gaps, and you kind of work with her to figure out what type of pieces you need, and then she goes thrifting for you and puts together a package of clothing and then ships it to you. So maybe the package is like 10 articles of clothing or something, and she ships you all the stuff from the thrift store. And I thought that was a really interesting one as well.
One that I saw that I'm thinking of is this. There was a makeup artist who I think he was like, yeah, he's like, do you have to be certified to be a makeup artist? I don't know. I don't know what the legal stuff was with that, but he created content just teaching people about makeup. And it was so fascinating. Like, he was so good. He's like, if you have a head that's shaped like this and you want to make it more narrow, or you have a head that you feel small and you want to make it look a little bit more full, like, he was just so it was so fascinating, and he was really, really good at teaching it. And people were asking him they were like, do you do any sort of consultations, whatever? And he said he might be offering them. And I thought that was super smart. He hadn't like really marketed it yet, but I'm like, if you're really passionate about makeup and you're really good at it, like, you could do something like that too.
Yeah, the other one that I just thought of is I've actually been talking to my friend about this because she's really good at sewing, and she used to have an Etsy shop where she would basically like list a product and then people would buy it, and then she would have to sew it really quick and then like send it out. And I was like, she like discontinued her Etsy store because it was just too much to keep up with like all of the
Mm-hmm.
orders all the time. And I was like, you should make an Instagram or a TikTok account and like record yourself sewing and like showing the finished product to like get hyped and get people hyped about it, and then do like drops for stuff and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I made one of this like really
Yeah.
unique piece for like bomber jackets to wear at a Steelers game or something like that, like super niche stuff. And then people can either like bid on it or there's a set price or whatever it is, but just kind of like having drops. So yeah, if you can sew, if you are like an incredible painter and you can sell your paintings, there's a ton of different things.
It reminds me of what is that? Oh my gosh. I don't remember what his name was, but I saw this man come up on my feed. It must have been a couple of years ago. And you could book, he was like oh my gosh, what is his name? I hope he still does content because it was the sweetest thing. He basically was like I don't want to say like dad on call, but kind of. So he would post these videos about fixing things, and it was like how to like change your tire or, whatever. And so let's say you're taking your car in to get work, and you're worried that they're going to try to like, because some auto shops will try to like pull one over, especially on women who might not understand their vehicle as well, or at least these people think that we don't understand our vehicles as well, whatever. You could literally book like him to be there, like on the phone with you or on like the call with you. Or if you were trying to fix something and you needed help or whatever, you could have him kind of there. I thought that was so unique. Like, if you're just like the handyman kind of person and you know how to do that type of stuff, that's so interesting. I don't know. I thought it was really
Yeah.
a unique service.
No, I love that so much. That reminded me of, I guess this is kind of merging like virtual with in-person stuff, which like social media can also help you find people in your local community as well. Like if you're
Hmm.
tagging the location, if you're talking about the market that you're in, but a lot of people who upsell furniture will record the process of upselling like the dresser or the nightstand or whatever it is, and then they'll either list it through social media or they'll say I'm in the Charlotte market and I'm selling this on like whatever. So you can kind of merge the two and use social media to find your people that way.
100%. Yeah. I think I know one of the ones that you had added to this list was like travel and trip planning and like for bachelorette parties. And it reminded me too of, it's not technically an online service, but it's more in person. But when people they do like the in person like picnic setups or planning like the decorating of like Airbnbs and things, which I know we've talked about on the podcast before, but using social media to market that, again, like it can be hyper local because you don't necessarily need like a massive audience. You just need like people who are like local and visiting tourists or whatever who want to do it, who want to book you. But I always think that's really interesting too.
Social media is on, I would say more so Instagram rather than TikTok. But if you do want to do something like in your community, starting an Instagram page for it and starting to rank for your city. I know in Nashville, there's so many girls that have like very Nashville specific audiences for either like food recommendations or just different things like that. And when you are so niche, like you would think that that limits you, but that actually gives you such an edge because again, there's just less competition in it. So yeah, even if you want to do something in person, like social media still can be your marketing arm. It's just a good way to reach people. The last bucket we have here, I feel like this is kind of an underrated one, and I don't hear
Mm-hmm.
that many people talking about it, but it's just kind of becoming a big thing within the last couple of years, and it's paid online communities. And this is a situation where it is like a monthly recurring subscription, and you're gathering people into this group like for a specific reason. And these are like super underrated, I feel like, because one, even when you have like an online course, and you can probably speak to this with your freelancing course, but even when you have some type of online course, a lot of people will include some type of like community component. But then since that's not like the big value add, I feel like a lot of creators don't put enough like emphasis and value right into their community when like when they say your network is your net worth, like the people that you're surrounded by can teach you so much and like the knowledge sharing of community. So that is a really good way to provide value to your audience, is just to gather people into the right rooms and provide that value inside of that community.
The thing that gets tricky about communities, but I think making them paid is helpful, is that so there's kind of like two things here. One, a community is only as good as the people in it and how much they contribute. And that's the thing, right? So if you're in a Facebook group for something, for example, my Facebook group that I have, people don't really, at the beginning, everyone was really like inspired and was posting and stuff. And then people kind of trailed off and didn't really post. And the purpose of the Facebook group was just to provide a space for people to connect if they want to. But I can't force people to post, right? So if you don't want to post, then whatever, that's not on me. I'm just creating the space and holding the space. But when you do a paid community, there's this idea, my business coach used to say this to me a few years ago, you have to pay to play in a lot of things. And if you want people to show up and be truly invested, charging somebody is a great way to do that, because if you think about it, you're much more likely to show up for something if you've paid for it. Because if it's free, you're just like, yeah, whatever. And I did write down a few examples of communities, and if you're looking for inspiration on communities, go to Google and type in Skool. It's Skool. It's a platform where they offer a bunch of things now, but I think it was started around the idea of paid communities. And it's a platform that allows you to host your paid community and charge people and connect with people and everything. And it was probably like 6 months ago. I was writing a newsletter for a client, and their company is all on the creator economy and how to make more money as a creator and grow as a creator and everything. And I did a whole newsletter on paid communities, and I was like just shocked at A, some of the things people have paid communities around I would never have even thought of, and B, how much money people are making from their paid communities. So I want to give a couple examples. Ones that made a lot that surprised me were faith-based communities and fitness communities. I was surprised by that, but then you think about, one, people who are really strong in their faith tend to want to invest in it and connect with people who are like-minded. And fitness communities, they're looking for a very specific result. And when you give people like a workout plan or a meal plan or things like that, if they follow it, they're probably going to see some sort of result, right? If you're going from not working out at all to now you're working out, the fitness plan says 5 times a week, whatever, you're probably going to see a result. And so people want to pay for that. But some of the ones that I saw today that I thought, again, some are a little out there, but I want to give you guys an idea of literally just how many possibilities there are. Okay. The last one is by far like the most bizarre one.
I know, I saw this. I
You
was
can
like,
see
oh
it on
my
the
gosh,
list,
I love
but
this.
I was like, this is nuts. Like okay. Number one was called The Lady Change, and it's for post-menopausal women to lose weight and get healthier. This woman, she does have a very large platform on social media, I will say. I think she has over 1 million followers, but she has 1.3 thousand members, and she charges them $49 a month, which these are all estimates. I can't guarantee that every single person in there pays for it, or that she's never changed her price, and some people aren't grandfathered in, but just based on what I can see from the outside, that would be around $63,700 a month in reoccurring revenue from her community. There's a group called the Calligraphy School. They have 64,000 followers on Instagram and 158K on YouTube. I don't know what their other platforms look like or other channels, but they have 1.1 thousand members at $9 a month. So a very, very affordable community. So they're making almost $10,000 a month from their private community. There's a group called That Pickleball School, and this guy has 1,400 followers on Instagram and 162,000 on YouTube. So obviously, again, larger, but he has 689 members in his community. So smaller in comparison to the others, but he charges $39 a month. So he's making roughly 26,871 a month from his paid community. And again, this is reoccurring revenue. Assuming people renew their subscriptions because they're getting value out of your paid community, this is revenue that's coming over and over. And also, when a community is scalable, like if you're putting out, if your community, depending on what you're guaranteeing people, if you're saying, okay, we're going to do 5 different calligraphy lessons every month, or in the pickleball school one, let's say, I know they talk about technique and things like that and improving your skills. So if he says, okay, we're going to give 2 lessons a month. I don't know what these groups offer. I didn't look into them because I can't quite see them on some of the way they advertise them. Some say what it includes and some don't. But let's say that's what it is. The more people you have, you don't have to put in more effort necessarily to do it. If you're like, yeah, it's 2 webinars a month or whatever it is. This last one, guys, okay? This private community, this paid community is called Poop Scoop Millionaire. And it is for, I'm not even joking, guys, it's for people who want to start pooper scooper businesses. Freaking genius. Freaking genius. You know why? Because who else is doing that? Who else is, you know what I mean? Genius. Like, if Poop Scoop Millionaires ever listening to this, you're actual geniuses. They have 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know if they have other platforms. I know they have a blog, and I don't know like what their traffic is and stuff. So I'm trying to give you guys these numbers to hopefully help you like just see that you don't need a million bajillion followers in order to make money. They have 656 members in their community as of filming this, and they charge $69 a month for that. That is an estimate of $45,264 a month, teaching people how to build pooper scooper businesses. And yes, obviously, like poop scoop, like is, it's funny, haha, whatever, but it's a legitimate business. That is a legitimate business. And $45,000 from this one channel, their paid community. And they have, I'm sure they have, I didn't do a deep dive on their business, but I'm sure they have courses and webinars and all sorts of other things that they do. So no matter what you have like a skill in or knowledge in, there are people who want to subscribe because not only are they learning from you, but they're connecting with people that are like-minded and can kind of help them along the way. And that's the hard thing, right? Let's say you live in, I don't know, even just like you're living in Boston and you are like, you know what? I kind of want to start a laundromat or a poop scooping business, right? And you're like, okay, how do I connect with people who do that? Finding a paid community, because what are the odds that you know someone in your immediate community that has a poop scooping business or a laundromat or a whatever, So I don't know. I just think it goes to show the possibilities really are endless here.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on this because I love this so much. I think like the Poop Scoop one is such a good example because 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, all of those people that have pressed subscribe to that channel are probably people who would consider purchasing something from them in the future, because why would you subscribe to a channel that's going to teach you how, not just like a channel about like poop scooping, like, but like teaching you how to like make a business unless you're semi interested in doing that. And then also, if you're thinking about a paid community, any type of community that's going to teach people something that can make them money, something about business, you tend to be able to charge more for, because one, people can like very easily quantify that ROI, but then two, if it is something business related, people can typically use it as a business expense. So then you're able to charge higher and people are like, okay, well, I'm investing this money back into my business kind of thing. So you can tend to charge a little bit higher for that. But I thought those were all really good examples. And when you do the math like that, like, it ends up, and again, recurring revenue, because the hardest part being a business owner, like if I want to go get another budget template sale, I need to go reach another person. Like you're constantly chasing more people and more people because it's a one-time purchase for a couple dollars.
Mhm.
The two that I had on here, one is kind of similar. It's a paid community for finding TikTok shop retainer deals. So if you like know what TikTok shop is, if you're a really good TikTok shop creator, brands will often like hire you on retainer to make like X amount of videos per month. So let's say the brand is like, hey, we'll pay you a flat fee of $1,000 to make 4 videos a month for these TikTok shop products to like incentivize you to keep talking about our product. So there's a paid community for like, I think it's like $34 a month, and you can join it and find those TikTok shop retainer deals. And the paid community is only for people who have a certain amount of TikTok shop sales per month. So they only want people in there who are super legit about that business. Then the other one that I wrote was, again, the friend that's in the tech space has a paid Discord channel, and it's for computer science majors to find internship opportunities. And they do like interview prep in there and like all those different kinds of things. So super specific. You're finding like your exact ideal client and then getting them into a community. And then your community starts to do a lot of the work. A lot of it is knowledge sharing, and the community becomes the real value add for people. So like your work gets less and less.
I just think it's so like when I was doing that deep dive for this client of mine on paid communities, there was also I almost included it in my list here, but there's a guy, his paid community is called Anime Shreds, and it's basically like it's kind of around like workouts to make your physique look like an anime character, like super ripped and shredded and whatever. And at the time when I did the numbers, this was like months ago, did the numbers on his paid community, he was making over $200,000. I think it was like maybe 250 to 280, like in that range per month. Now I did the math today. I think it was around like 130,000 because he has some fewer members, and I think he lowered the price of his paid community. But there are also groups that when you're talking about different niches you can charge more, it was finance, business, and health were the main ones that could charge more, but then also like the religious based ones, like I was saying. And there were a lot of like communities at the time when I researched all of this that it was smaller, right? They maybe only have 50 to 80 members, but they're charging $125 a month or $100 a month or whatever. And depending on what your goal is, like if you're looking to do it as a side hustle or just whatever your goal is, right? It's that's a chunk, right? That's a chunk of money. And so it really depends what you're looking to do, but it just I don't know, there's so much you could possibly do with it. So and you don't even yes, social media is important, but like I was just thinking too, if let's say you're like doing something for parents and it's like healthy eating and every single month you're putting out like a new batch of recipes for picky eater kids to make sure they still get all of their nutrients or something like that, like people in your community who are like right around you are also probably going to be interested, like you know what I mean, mention it to the moms at daycare when you go to pick your kids up, or you know what I mean, there's just so I don't know, there's so many possibilities with it. I think it's really fascinating. Paid communities are just so interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that wraps up this episode because that's all that was on our list. But yes, the overarching theme of this episode was just that we wanted to inspire you guys and just kind of open up your mind for what other people are doing out there that is super profitable, and the options are truly limitless when it comes to the internet and making money online and social media, digital products, all of the things. If you have any other cool like niche examples of this, definitely leave us a comment in Spotify. We would love to see them. We could always do like a follow up to this episode, and we want to make this kind of like monetizing online and making more money and six-figure side hustles. We want to kind of turn it into a series. So if you have any ideas of like different income streams or things that you want to see or hear us talk about, definitely let us know in Spotify, or you can DM us on Instagram at the Life You Love Pod. We love hearing from you guys. But thanks for tuning into the podcast, and until next week.